Hello, this is Dr. Jeff, and so excited to present our Korean American Ethnic Studies course to teachers in the state of Washington. They had reached out to me saying, hey, tell us a little bit more about your Korean American Studies course. So, through the Consulate General of the Republic of Korea in Seattle and Seattle University, we'll have a chance to share a little bit about our course. Some interesting facts about the Seattle University is about 2/3 of the students volunteer in the community. So wonderful to see that civic engagement. And I think I might emphasize that a little bit more in this course, the opportunity not to only learn about Korean American Studies, but to do something good with their story. So our Korean American Studies course, Stories of Resilience, is supporting students to know, tell, and do something good with their story. I might share a little bit about myself, and depending on the folks in the room, connect what I'm doing in civic engagement or as an instructional coach to their interests as well and connections. In order for the tree to grow tall, you have to know your roots. This is a saying that we have in our class. This goes for Korean American students, but not only Korean American students, but all students. And we are finding that many of these roots are interconnected with one another, and that's how we're all growing tall when we know each other's roots, whether it's Korean American stories or Latin American studies, Latin American, Hispanic stories, Black stories, Indigenous stories. All our stories are interconnected. I might go ahead and begin with this little Likert scale. If I were to ask folks, I know a lot about Korean American history, could share this story with others. Where would we rate ourselves on a scale of 0 to 5? And once again, if folks are kind of rating a little bit lower, no blame, no judgment, because when I was growing up, I couldn't name one Korean American that made a difference in the United States, or even Asian American for that matter. So we want to begin from where we're at. So we honestly admit, hey, I don't know as much as I want to. And I'm going to begin with what I have and build upon what I have to where I want to go. I also might want to ask folks in this group what they want to get out of this workshop. And so I have about 30 minutes to share. So what is it that I'm going to want to share? I like to co-construct meaning based on the interests of the group as well. So I'll have a chance to share a little bit about that. But I think it's always important to begin with the story of this course. How in 2020 there are two pandemics. There was the surge in COVID-19, and also there was the surge in anti-Asian racism. In Orange County, we saw an 1,800% increase of anti-Asian hate, which concerned me. I know when a student came up to me fearful of her own family being attacked, that really moved me. I probably didn't give her the best advice when I told her I didn't see it escalating in Orange County, but that wasn't the case. We saw that 1,800% increase here in Orange County, but also in addition to that, we saw the elderly being beaten, some killed, and then the Atlanta shootings in Georgia. And at that point, I thought to myself, I don't think I could be silent on this anymore. There's something I have to do in response to this surge. So oftentimes when we face a challenging situation or a situation where people would naturally feel that fear and anger as they see events unfolding, there's that temptation to just react out of that fear and anger. So I want to pose the question, how would the world look so different if we took a moment to kind of pause and consider how we might respond out of love and wisdom? And so that was my response. My response out of love and wisdom was to create this course where students would have a chance to know their story, tell their story, listen to one another's stories, and do something good with their story. I think I'll play this video clip of the news article from NBC.
As we honor Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month, we focus on some students in Orange County who are being offered a new course in the fall.
That's right. The Anaheim Union High School District is offering Korean American Studies virtually. NBC4's Ted Chen has those details.
Maybe you've listened to K-pop, but have you ever heard of Young-Ok Kim? He's the first Asian commander of a U.S. Army battalion. They'll both be part of a new course offered by the Anaheim Union High School District on Korean American Studies. It's believed to be the first ever in the U.S.
It's a first of a kind.
Dr. Jeff Kim says he came up with the idea for the course as he saw the increasing number of anti-Asian hate incidents. He says he wanted to help students better understand who they are and where they come from.
If I were to ask a child, what is your parent's story? What is your parents' parents' story? Oftentimes they don't know their parents' story.
Students like Audrey Lee, Jaden Hahn, and Daniel Hahn told us they've heard bits and pieces from their immigrant parents and grandparents, but they say much of Korean American history has been a mystery. The class, they believe, will be an eye-opener.
It's a great opportunity.
It's not me just learning about Korean history, it's me learning about who I am as a Korean American.
The most important thing to me was that it allows me to build myself an identity and a character.
Kim says the course will cover the immigration of Korean Americans, their settlement in the U.S., and their journey through historic events like the L.A. riots. He says he hopes the course will benefit students from all backgrounds.
When they hear these stories, it will give them a strength. It will give them a feeling of resilience.
I had no idea it would take this long for the first course to be developed. So I can't even put into words how excited I am, and that my son gets to benefit.
We have such a unique past, and it's just something that that I can be proud of.
In the end, it'll help me to just really empathize and really look at the world in a new light.
Ted Chen, NBC4 News.
Where we proposed the idea of the first Korean American studies course in the United States, and since then there's been a lot of accolades, recognition of this course, and so glad, because it's never about any one individual or one course, but it is about being seen, and that being seen allows others to be seen as well, and I think that's an important step in the right direction. Now, many folks ask, what exactly are you going to cover in this course? First of all, when we say Korean American Studies, they might feel that this is very narrow, but the Korean American Studies story is a great American story for Korean Americans and also all Americans. Part one is that ethnography piece where students know and tell their own story. Many of these questions allow the student to think about what they think about themselves, their own strengths. Many of the questions are actually connected with college admissions type of questions out here in California, so that when they're doing this work, they're also kind of writing the narrative portion of their college essay. And then it also includes oral histories where they have a chance to talk to their families, their parents, and hear their story. And oftentimes they're hearing these stories for the very first time. Then what we're doing in part two is we're having a chance to look at the history of Korean Americans in the United States from 1903 to modern day Korean Americans. And I think one of the best ways to do that is through this book here, written by Dr. Chang, Korean Americans, A Concise History. It's just 100 pages, but so easy to read, and covers all that information. It's broken up into 7 chapters, 8 sections if you include the introduction. And so I divide up the groups into kind of a jigsaw type of format, where they also then create their own children's book based on this book to help tell the story of Korean Americans and know the history, the timeline of Korean Americans. That kind of gives a broad satellite view of Korean American history. Then we go in a little more detailed into part 3, Korean American Stories of Resilience. And this is where we're going to get into that model ethnic studies curriculum, and we're going to go a lot deeper. And they will have a chance to talk about some Korean Americans that made a difference in the United States, including Colonel Young-ho Kim, Dr. Samuel Lee, Do-san Chang-ho, and more. Part 4 of this course is a virtual museum, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So in addition to the students learning, they're also creating content that can be used to educate others, to help others to become more connected, to become more aware of the Korean American story. And then finally, a portion on civic action, possibly college and career connections as well. Now, one of the first assignments was this mashup of the My Story introduction, one of the very first assignments in this class. And so I think I'll play that.
My name is Audrey Lee, and this is my story. I try to make my presentation look like a bookshelf because I'm an avid reader.
So 3 things about me is I play volleyball, I love hanging out with friends, and I am Korean American.
So today I'm going to be talking about my story and kind of the things that I like, when my birthday is, my professional life, my personal life.
I'm involved with my school's ASB team, like I said, KCA, which is the Korean Culture Awareness Club, and the RSVP Club, which stands for Raising Student Voice and Participation.
And in my professional life, if you like to have some Thai food, you should come to my workplace. Have real Thai food in Garden Grove.
I have a picture of myself and my dad. Over the summer, we went to Taylor Swift's Eras tour. And since I'm a big fan, it was a really great experience for me. And I think my dad liked it as well. I was able to translate it, and in Korean it says, "실패를 두려워하지 말고 최선을 다해라." This means don't be afraid of failing and do your best. It seems like a very basic motto to live by, but I feel like it's a good one. There's a picture of my friend and I in our hanboks, which is traditional Korean clothing. We did a fashion show for Oxford Academy.
I was born in South Korea and I moved to America when I was first to third grade. I went back to Korea and then I came back to America when I was in the middle of 8th grade.
I'm actually half Korean, a quarter Chinese, and a quarter Japanese.
I'm Korean American myself, but my knowledge of Korean Americans is so limited.
So why study Korean American history? We know Korean history, we know American history, but we don't really know about Korean American history. As a Korean American myself, I think it's really important to be able to know this history and learn about it.
I chose Korean American Studies because as a Korean American student myself, I was never really given the opportunity to learn about my own culture and background.
When I was little, my mom used to play K-pop a lot, specifically like 21 and Girls' Generation, and would say, "Oh yeah, you're Korean too," and I was like, "What?" And I was really confused, and I was like, "So what are they talking about?" And she wouldn't know, I wouldn't know, because her mom never taught her how to speak Korean, and thus, I never learned. But nonetheless, their music helped me and my mom form a strong bond.
I had always considered my Korean background and kind of its history as a concept that's completely different and separate from American history, almost like they were in two completely different worlds.
My goal in this class is to take what I learn and apply it to my own community and my future as I grow up.
The goal for this class is to learn more about these connections and not only find my own historical identity as a Korean American, but also share these stories and help other people understand theirs too.
I'm really enjoying this class so far. I was initially a little bit nervous about taking a virtual class since I've never taken one before, but I'm really glad that I took this opportunity to learn more about my culture, and I can't wait to see where the class goes. Thank you.
I'll talk about our work with Department of Homeland Security and the Invent to Prevent program. Very fortunate to be a part of this. Once again, if I were to ask a person to name even one Korean American that made a difference in the United States, there are many, but if you couldn't name one, then I guess you could say it's kind of like a cultural vacant lot. So how do we transform these vacant lots to where stories are known and told? And so that's what we try to do with Invent to Prevent. We understand that when you tell stories and do something with your stories, it helps to reduce the risk of targeted violence. When you humanize the Korean American experience, it helps to is a step toward addressing violence, because dehumanization is oftentimes an early step in that violence. So goal one is the Korean American Studies Stories of Resilience Dedication Night to thank families for their migration stories. So this happened. Not too long ago, where students had a chance to present their ethnographies to their families and thank them for their migration story, perhaps for the very first time. It was a very beautiful event, and I think it could be a potential model for bringing the community closer together. As we did this over at Cambridge Virtual Academy, where I teach at, but it could have been, this could have been activity that could have been happening in cultural centers, universities, other schools, and it could have been happening there as well. Goal number 2 is for students to become JEDI. That is Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Consultants, to help others know and tell their story. So now that they are well equipped to, know their own story, they have gone through the process of creating their ethnographies or collecting oral history. So they should be in a place now to help others also know and tell their stories as well. This could be peers, other high school students. It could be middle, elementary. It could be their parents. So many different spaces and ideas for that. And then our third idea is, once again, that virtual museum. We have a partnership with eCadence, which is a learning management system. And we're thinking about powering this virtual museum with an artificial intelligence bot, which will, in addition to our students, also be a place where others can learn about Korean American stories of resilience. Once again, this is an image of our dedication night.
Different schools, we've been meeting virtually, but tonight it's a reality. We did it. And we did it out of Anaheim Union High School District. No other school has this course. This is the first Korean American Studies course, high school course in the United States of America, coming out of Anaheim Union High School District.
So we got programs, we have stickers, we have all our stories of resiliences, and then of course we have our students. What's happening today?
So today's our Korean American Studies Night of Resilience, where we're going to be sharing our stories of resilience with like our parents, friends, etc.
Well, I think it's a once in a lifetime chance. We don't really get to print in color and in detail like this, and we get to share our stories with our parents.
Korean American Studies. And then they go ahead and open this up. It looks like it might be a letter. I don't know. We'll see what this says. Oh my goodness, what is this?
Wow, it's $1,000 check to the Korean American Studies course.
Wow, thank you, Invent to Prevent.
Thank you.
I think it's a really cool event because we get to share our stories of resilience to not just our classmates but to all of our parents and just like maybe our friends' parents or just anyone here. I think it's a great opportunity for others to learn about our stories of resilience and learn about how they can tell their own stories of resilience.
Yeah, well, I'm the Family and Community Engagement Specialist here at CVA, and obviously us being a whole district school, we really do embrace everything that we do throughout the community, including our Korean American community, and this is a special event for us at CVA, us being the first in the nation, so we're super excited to be able to host it here, be able to organize it and set up the location, so we're super excited.
Hello, my name is Jenny Lee. I'm the assistant principal here at CVA, and we are so honored to host this monumental class and to host tonight as a dedication.
Now, it's amazing that these 7 schools have come together. Once again, we have never met face-to-face, but you're going to see students who have student work, who have coordinated this night together. In a little bit, you'll see them introducing themselves, and you'll be hearing them share their dedication of the work that they've done to some of the amazing people here.
이 디스트릭의 학생으로서 좋은 기회를 일단 가지게 돼서 다행이고요.
너무 영광이고 또 이런 기회를 갖게 되어서 정말 감사하게 생각합니다.
Well, we are a very unique school. We are 100% virtual, but we are also a course-based academy, and we are able to house classes like the Korean American Studies course, as well as many other very innovative classes.
Jenny, tonight, what are we going to be doing? What is kind of the flow of the agenda?
Tonight, we want to acknowledge some of our very special guests. We also want to introduce our Korean American Studies core group and the community. We will also be doing an introduction to what is this course so that everyone will know what we're trying to accomplish. And we will have a panel of Korean American Studies students and parents, as well as the highlight of tonight, which is going to be the Korean American Studies Stories of Resilience dedications. So we're very much looking forward to that, and then we will end with some special thanks and a closing.
We also have some websites. I talked about going in a little deeper. So if you look at the Korean American Model Ethnic Studies curriculum out here in California, they go in and provide some detailed lessons on, let's say, Tosan Changho, Korean American settlement in 1905. There's some detailed lessons on Colonel Young Kim and his leadership over the 442nd Regiment. He's famous for saying, "I'm an American, they're American, we'll fight as American." And that was during a time when there was some tension between Korea and Japan. But as a Korean American and as with his fellow Japanese Americans, he was able to really embody what it means to live in multiracial America and perhaps show the way for our country. We have Dr. Samuel Lee. Although there was all kinds of segregation happening, oftentimes when we think about segregation, we sometimes think about Mendez versus Westminster, Hispanic, Latino, or Black. But in this case, even Asian Americans segregated by race couldn't swim in the swimming pool except for one day a week, and yet somehow became the back-to-back gold medal Olympic platform diving champion, a gold medalist. And of course, doing so much more with his life. Along with many of these Korean Americans, they didn't just have a singular achievement, but also later were community leaders serving their community. Or the 1992 LA civil unrest, where we saw one of the great devastation in the Korean American community out in LA. And then what was the Korean American response? Korean American response was one of the most largest peaceful demonstrations ever. And there was a strengthening of interethnic relations. And some people say this is where the Korean American identity was reborn. And more, and there's more. I'm not going to go through all of them, but those are just some of the lessons in the Model Ethnic Studies curriculum. And detailed lesson plans can be found in these two locations, the Korean American Studies Education Foundation. This is a place where I had a chance to work with some of the scholars over at Cal State Fullerton and build some of these out. Because sometimes the Model Ethnic Studies curriculum, it's not super teacher friendly, but the lessons found in the Korean American Studies Education Foundation, much more teacher friendly with PowerPoints, handouts, lesson plans, and so forth. Also, the KASonline.net is another place where it has the same lessons, and I think they're going to build out more in that particular website as well. Fortunately, this Korean American Ethnic Studies course has received so much support from academia, organizations, and media. So a couple of them include, as I mentioned, the Cal State University Fullerton Invent to Prevent, but also the UCR Young-Ok Kim Center, the UCI Teacher Academy, Council of Korean Americans, the Consulate General of the Republic of Korea out here in Los Angeles, and then a lot of attention, whether it's on NBC, EdSource, NBC Korea, the Korea Times, and the Korea Daily. So once again, I think this is so important because a part of this work is being seen, and in being seen, this is a part of transforming those cultural vacant lots into places where stories are known and told. So hopefully this helps us to think about, why is it important for students to know their own story? Why is it important for students to tell their own story? Why is it important for others to listen to their story with empathy and respect? And why is it important to do something good with your story? And this isn't just for teachers, but I use this approach also when training pre-service teachers or working with in-service teachers as well. Teachers having the opportunity to also know their story themselves. So what are some things that you're leaving with? The research shows that if teachers don't apply within 72 hours what they learned, oftentimes we forget even some great professional learning that we might have received. So what are some different ways we can apply and take a first step in doing something with what we've learned today? And where are we at now? I don't know if we're at a 1, are we now at a 2 of what we could do to share about Korean American stories? We have some resources. If you moved up even 1, I would consider that a huge win. And are there any other resources that you feel like you need in order to be successful? And I love this quote by Maya Angelou, where it says, do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, do better.